The room fell silent the moment Jasmine Crockett stood up. Her eyes locked on Governor Greg Abbott, her voice steady but filled with the kind of heat that only comes when you've had enough. "Security," she said, pointing toward him. "Remove him!" Gasps rippled through the chamber. Cameras clicked like 1,000 beating hearts, capturing every twitch of expression, every flicker of shock. This wasn't just another tense political moment. It was the culmination of months of frustration, injustice, and the weight of people whose voices had been ignored. For weeks leading up to that day, Jasmine had been fighting a battle she never asked for but refused to walk away from. She had watched policy after policy pass, policies that, in her eyes, stripped dignity from the marginalized and pushed struggling families further into desperation. She had begged for dialogue, appealed to reason, and reached across the aisle, only to be met with smiles that hid daggers. And on this day, Abbott's latest remarks crossed the final line. It wasn't about personal animosity. It was about the principle that no one, no matter how powerful, had the right to diminish another's humanity without challenge. But as security hesitated, eyes darting between Jasmine and Abbott, something unexpected happened. Abbott stood. The Governor didn't resist, didn't argue. He looked directly at her, not with anger, but with an expression she couldn't quite read. He took a slow breath, adjusted his jacket, and began to speak. "You want me gone," he said quietly, "because you believe I don't see you, or the people you represent." Jasmine's heart pounded. She had expected pushback, accusations, maybe even a public confrontation. But what she got instead was something far more disarming. Abbott walked toward the center of the room, not toward the exit. "Before I go," he continued, "I want to tell you something. You think I've never been underestimated, never been dismissed? Every day, I roll into rooms where people think my wheelchair defines me. They think I don't have the strength to lead, but I do. And maybe I've forgotten that the same fire that keeps me going is burning in you too." The room was still. Security shifted awkwardly, unsure whether to proceed. Jasmine clenched her fists, torn between the outrage that had carried her to this moment and the humanity that his words had unexpectedly stirred. She thought about the single mother in her district working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. She thought about the veterans sleeping in their cars. She thought about the little girl who had asked her last month, "Will things ever get better?" Abbott sighed. "If I leave now, nothing changes. You'll still be angry. I'll still be stubborn. And the people we both say we fight for, they'll still be waiting." There it was, the pivot she didn't see coming. Instead of storming out or escalating the confrontation, Abbott extended his hand, literally, reaching across the space between them. "Sit with me, right here, right now. Let's talk. No cameras, no microphones, just the truth." The reporters in the back leaned forward. This wasn't politics anymore. This was raw, unscripted humanity. Jasmine stared at his hand, her mind racing. She remembered the people who told her she'd never last in politics because she was too emotional. But in that moment, she realized her passion wasn't a weakness. It was her compass. And maybe, just maybe, his willingness to stand there, unguarded, vulnerable, was his. She stepped forward, ignoring the surprised murmurs around her, and took his hand. They walked together to the center table. Security backed away. The cameras kept rolling, but for once, neither of them seemed to care. For the next 2 hours, they argued, debated, laughed unexpectedly, and even found small corners of agreement. They didn't fix everything, not even close, but they started something rare, a conversation without the armor of party lines. By the end, Jasmine looked him in the eye and said, "I still think you've been wrong about a lot." Abbott chuckled softly, "And I still think you've misunderstood some of my fights. But I'll tell you this. I'll meet you here again. Not for me. Not for you. For them. And that was the moment. Not the order to remove him. Not the speech that followed. That would be replayed, shared, and remembered. Not because it was explosive, but because it was real. The headlines would spin it a dozen different ways, but the truth was simple. When two people decided to see past the noise and meet in the raw middle, even the sharpest divide could begin to close. And somewhere in the crowd that day, a little girl was watching. The same little girl who had once asked Jasmine if things would ever get better. That night, she whispered to her mom, "I think maybe they will."